Hello everybody, my name is Autumn. I'm from Autumn Acres Mini Pet Pigs, and this is my Piggy Q&A for the week. I got quite a few questions today, so I'm gonna jump right in. The first question is, what is the best food to feed a pet pig? And the answer is, a lot of it is preference. There's no perfect food. There are several different brands that are popular. I know Missouri makes one that's pretty popular. I'm not crazy about it. It tends to cause my pigs to have a lot of piggy rust. And if you don't know what that is, it's just like that thick, like oily substance on their skin. A lot of times it's like in their like cracks, like in their, on their belly, close to the legs, or even like on the back of the neck type of a thing. You can see a little bit of weeping from the eyes. That's like a brown kind of substance. That's piggy rust. So I don't care for Missouri. I choose to use Purina, which is a pig and sow. And here in Ohio, I don't have a whole lot of choices. We live in the country, and just whatever I can find is what I have to use. And plus I have several pigs. I don't have a ton, but I do have several that, some of the higher priced feeds like Sharps makes an excellent feed if you have just one pig, one or two. That's one that you can look into. There are several others. I can't think of one of the other ones. There's an organic feed that my Tractor Supply carries, but it's a pretty small bag for me. I like the Purina. My pigs do very well on it. They also tend to not have that piggy rust, so I like it, and it's very well priced. For a 50-pound bag, it's only $15. So for me, I go through 2 bags a month. That means that I can feed all my pigs for $30 a month, and that's pretty awesome. So really, it's preference. What do you want? What are you looking for? What are your standards as far as food goes? And so I would just look at those. Sharps is excellent. And I think Oink Box makes their own feed. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but I think that's also a very good one. Okay, next question. When will Cash move outside? So Cash is our little black piglet that we still have in the house. We are keeping him. We are going to be using him for breeding in the future, not now. He's way too little now. But we are keeping him. His circumstances of birth were not ideal. He was not able to be kept with his mother because she kept trying to attack and kill him. So I had to remove him from her and supplement with goat's milk. Now, that is not ideal. A piglet needs to stay with its mother. She teaches them so many things. I mean, just how to be a pig. She also keeps them in their place. She also just so many things that piglets taken from their mother young or way too young tend to have lots of different issues in life. Issues with aggression, issues with potty training, and we've definitely run into that with Cash. He pees everywhere. He pees on blankets. He pees on, he pees everywhere. And in the litter box too when he feels like it. It just depends. So I didn't want to set anybody else up for that failure. I knew it was going to be rough with him, and we're in love with him. We dote on him constantly. We love him, and so we will use him in the future. He'll move outside here in a couple weeks. It's still a little chilly here some days, and he's so little. I just want to wait for the right time. Basically, you move a pig outside, or at least I do, when it begins to sexually mature, and he has already begun that, but like I said, he's still so little. I worry about him, so I'm gonna wait until it warms up a little bit before I take him outside. And how much does he weigh? He weighs a whopping 4 pounds. A little less than 4 pounds, actually. He's a little tiny guy. That tends to happen when a piglet doesn't have its mother's milk. That milk is very fatty and very rich, and it tends to make them grow quickly, and it puts the weight on them, which is a good thing. You want a chubby piglet. Cash didn't have that. So I did the best I could with the goat's milk, and but he's healthy. I just had him checked out. He's totally healthy, and he will grow. Pigs will grow as long as they're fed enough food. Okay, tusks. Talk about tusks. Does a professional need, first of all, tusks? So pigs get this tusk that grows out of their mouth. Mostly males get it. It's much bigger in males than it is in females. Females also get them, but they tend to stay under that lip, and you don't see them very as prominently, I should say. Now, for males, if you have a pet pig in the house that's a male, he should have it trimmed, because I've seen it happen many times where a pig with tusks will accidentally cut their family, an adult's leg on accident, just like moving their head around and things. Those tusks can get in the way, and they may not know how to fully control that. So yeah, it's really super simple to trim the tusks. You take like a wire, just a wire file, and literally they wrap it around the tooth, they pull it back and forth a few times, and it comes right out. Both sides. It probably takes, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds to do both of them. It's very quick. It doesn't hurt them at all. And it's a safety precaution for everyone involved. If you have other pigs, it's better for them too. So Axel actually is 3. He's going on 4, but he's 3, and I have yet to have to trim his tusks. And I do now. They definitely need trimmed now. And I'm very careful while I'm out there. But just with all this stuff with the coronavirus, I have to get my vet out here to make a house call and get those trimmed. But my females, I'm gonna talk to my vet, and she'll see if she thinks that they need to come out. Does a professional need to do it? Not necessarily. If you have somebody that can just hold them upright, and you can get that file in there to and just pull it back and forth quick enough, and no, I mean, you can do it. There's nothing wrong with that, nothing at all. If you have someone else do it, how much does it cost? Literally, the numbers are all over the book. It depends. I think a lot of times, like a specific kind of a farrier can do it. I think that a lot of times it depends on your pig, because if your pig has to be, you don't want to sedate your pig. This is not something that needs sedating. They just need to be able to hold still, right? So if you have a pig that someone can hold and handle and hold it still, and that's not an issue. But if you have a pig that's a lot bigger, that has to be flipped and secured upside down type of a thing, then that would probably cost more. But I think my vet, well, I've never had to do it, so I'm not exactly sure, but I can't imagine it costing more than like $30, $35. Seriously. It's not a huge deal at all. And can they be removed? No, they cannot be removed. Their tusk is literally a part of their jawbone. So no, you don't want to mess with that. You mess with that, you're messing with anatomy. Think about like infection. No, they would have to be put under for that, of course. And pigs just don't do well being put under. It's better to do it when they're young, and when they're older, it just gets so tricky. So no, they should not be removed. They can be removed, but they shouldn't be removed. Just trim them. It's not a huge deal at all. You'd only have to do it maybe once a year, maybe once every other year, depending on how fast they grow. And male pigs that are not fixed, that testosterone fuels the tusks and that thick neck. So if you have a male pig that's fixed, those tusks are going to grow much more slowly. Maybe once a year, maybe once every other year, they'll have to be trimmed, but not much more than that. Next question. Can you tell us more about my crate training process? Do they sleep in their crate overnight? So I crate train all of our piglets. And the way I do that is I start out with like 20 minutes in a crate. Now, when they're babies, when they're really little babies, if we have to separate them from their mom for any reason, we put them in a crate with a little heating pad. So really, I mean, I crate my piglets very young out of necessity, just needing to have a safe place for them. Now, and then as they get older, when they're around 4 weeks or so, we start crating them starting at like 20-minute increments. So they might be very vocal and maybe like not freak out, but they might tend to go a little bit that way, excuse me, the first time or two. But after that, I just increased the amount of time by like, I don't know, 15 minutes or so each time. And I just crate train, starting at 4 weeks, I crate train every other day. And then every other day I do the harness training. I try to do it slowly. I try to do it so it's not stressful. And then I work up to being in the crate for several hours. And if I have a pig that's going to be flying, say, to California, I work on it even harder because I know that they might be in their crate for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, depending on their flight, depending on their layover, depending on all of that kind of stuff. So I want to make my piglets successful. And when I say my piglets are crate trained, I don't mean that they don't go potty in a crate. Now, for the most part, they do very, very well because I try to do it at a time like after meals, so like way after meals, so that they don't need to go to the bathroom as often. But when I say crate train, I mean they don't freak out. They're comfortable in a crate. Basically what they do is they root. I always put a blanket in there. They root on the blanket or they sleep. One of those two things. So that's what I mean by crate training. And it's very easy. I just start when they're about 4 weeks old and just up the time slowly so it's not stressful. Next question. Is it best to feed an all fresh food diet or to give pellets? This is a great question because, you know, a lot of people are moving towards feeding their dog a specific fresh diet or raw diet or something like that. But pigs are very different. Pigs have an extremely delicate like electrolyte balance. They need a specific amount of nutrients, and that balance too is delicate. So pigs are foragers in the wild. Pigs are scavengers in the wild. They eat meat. So a pig that is just eating vegetation and grains maybe is not going to be healthy. They're going to be missing some of those important vitamins and minerals. So yeah, I mean, you could feed a fresh diet, absolutely, including cooked meats and things, or even raw meats, really. I mean, think about it. Pigs eat raw meat in the wild. Now, that might weird some people out, but it is very important that a pig does have protein in its diet. And I'm not talking plant protein. I'm talking protein, meat protein. So if you decide to do that, then you really need to do your research and you really need to be diligent about what you're giving your pig, because you can cause a lot of issues, especially when they're young, if you don't know what you're doing. Now, pig pellets are specifically made for pigs. They have those nutrients worked out. So I feel safer feeding my pigs pig pellets, and I feel that's safer unless you're really going to do your research. Next question. Does Topanga get mad? And about what? You know, she does at times, but for the most part, we have our routine worked out. She knows what to expect in the morning. She knows what to expect all day. She knows what to expect in the evening. So anymore, I mean, she really doesn't get mad about too many things. She might get mad if she gets a hold of something, or if somebody leaves the trash on the porch or something and she gets a hold of it and we take something from her, then she'll get mad. What do you do if she head swipes? Again, she really doesn't head swipe us, but if she did, I would probably, depending on the situation, I would probably just push her, like give her a slight shove so that it kind of knocks her off her feet and scares her. Remember, pigs are flight animals. They're very nervous, you know, they're because of that prey instinct. They're very nervous. So for a pig to be knocked back, or maybe even gently, not harshly, knocked off its feet, it's scary to them, and they equate the consequence with what they did. They're smart enough to do that. So if they equate those two things together, something they're not supposed to do, with that feeling of being out of control, then they're not going to want to do that. So That's what I would do. I would just kind of give her a little shove. Again, not harshly or meanly, just enough to show her that that head swipe is just unacceptable. If she does get mad, how long does she stay mad? Usually not very long. She's a pretty go with the flow, and she's pretty well in her place that she understands, like I said, what goes on here. Now, if you've been following me, you know that we have one of our piglets back as a kind of like a board and train type of a thing. Petunia is with us, and we're working on like bossy behavior. We're working on like extreme stubbornness. We're working on following the rules and obedience. So the question I got was, does Petunia remember me? And I'm convinced she does, because when she came in the house, she was not afraid at all. She literally walks around like she owns the place. So I feel like something is definitely familiar to her. Does she listen to me better, or does she listen to me, or does she listen to her family better? And I would say both. She listens very well to me, but we have a working relationship. She knows if I ask her something, I expect her to do it. And if she does do what she's supposed to do, then she gets a treat. So she knows that. So I would say both in different ways. She loves her family, absolutely loves her family, and they love her to pieces. And so we're just trying to work on these few little things so that they can love her even more. She can be an even better pet. Okay, dry skin. A lot of questions about dry skin. Pigs naturally have dry skin. So, I've seen so many people who like lather up their pig in coconut oil. When you have a house pig, I can't even imagine doing that, because think about, that coconut oil is going to get all over your furniture. If you have carpet, we have hardwood floors. If that coconut oil gets on our hardwood floors, it's going to be slippery. It's going to get all over our clothes. So that's not my preference. I don't want to do that. And really, if your pig has a lot of hair, it's not going to do much good. I prefer to solve that dry skin issue from the inside out. Okay, so some people feed their pig coconut oil. That's fine if that's what you want to do. I prefer to use like a fish oil supplement once a day, as with a piglet 6 months old and older. And I don't really have many issues with dry skin with my pigs, because that's what I do. So that's my preference. The other question was, should you brush them often to get the dry skin off? Sure, absolutely. You know how dry skin can be itchy? Yeah, I bet they would just love that. Another question, where do I look to find out about the local laws as far as like being allowed to own a pig? My sister, when she was trying to find out if she could own a pig in her town, she just called the number directly to like the city hall, or just the city. So if you call online, and sometimes those online laws are not updated, so I would say call, talk to the person who answers the phone, write down their name, the date, and what they said, okay, and save that. Because if your neighbors or somebody, there are a lot of really mean neighbors out there, rude, who just don't like the idea of you having a pig. So I would say, just in case somebody were to ever complain about it, you could say, listen, I know for a fact that I'm allowed to have this, so. Okay, next question, can pigs that are not pink get sunburned? And the answer is yes, they can get sunburned, but it's, it would take a lot for them to be sunburned. They kind of have that natural built-in sunblock type of a thing. So if your pig is going to be in the full sun on a really hot day and there's no shade available, yeah, put some sunblock on your pig, especially like on the top of their back and things, if wherever that direct sunlight is hitting. Why are raw or canned beans not recommended? And oh, I just realized I was gonna look this one up. I know why I don't want my pig to eat raw or canned beans, and it's because of the, beans are difficult to digest. You think your husband's gas is horrible. Try smelling your pigs. It is horrendous. And it literally stinks up your whole house. So that's why I wouldn't recommend it. I'm not sure if, I know that there are some plants and vegetables that are, they can cause different things. Like they're not toxic to a pig, but they can cause different things like photosensitivity, maybe just give like a little bellyache. I'm not sure if beans, I need to write that down. If beans do that or not. I need to look that up. I meant to and I just forgot. And the last question is, will I be keeping cash? I already answered that. Yes, I will be keeping cash. So those were all my questions. I want to thank everyone so much who sent me a question. I'm going to be doing another one of these next week. So if you have any more questions, please feel free to let me know and I will do my best to answer it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.